Lehigh School Board meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the NLSD Media YouTube channel. At this point, I will ask everyone to please rise and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Dissler?
Here.
Mr. Green? Here. Ms. Heckman? Here. Ms. Husak? Here. Mr. Keegan?
Here.
Mr. Kern?
Here.
Ms. Culp?
Here.
Ms. Martineau?
Here.
Mr. Fedorcha?
Thank you. Okay, for public comment, as per Board Policy 903, all participants will be provided a period of 5 minutes for each public participation. All statements shall be directed to the President. No participant may address or question the board members individually during the public comment or throughout the meeting. Okay, I'm seeing here that there is no one signed up to speak this evening, and I will say that when the board gets into their discussion, I will ask you to refrain from any shouting out questions or comments to the board. If that happens, I will stop the discussion immediately of the board. Okay? If I can have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 12th meeting.
Here.
Do I have a second?
Here.
Any questions or changes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Special board reports. Mrs. Husak, Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. We did have our board meeting back on July 19th. The IU did launch their new website at the end of the month in July, so if you haven't been on it, take a look at it. It's cliu.org. Just wanted to give an update. I know I had talked about it briefly before. We did have our golf tournament for the Special Needs Foundation back in June. Happy to say that they received just around $14,000 in profits for that. One of the things that we did do, and just last week, Mr. Link and Dr. Stoker attended the IU as well. The IU presented 15 adaptive bikes to special needs students. One of our students here at Northern Lehigh was the recipient of one of those. It was wonderful to see them, the smiles on their faces. So thank you to those who participated and partook in that golf tournament. One of the other things the IU has done, and we passed just very similar to our board did in July, they also passed their health and safety plan, very similar to ours here. Masks on school buses and that type of thing. They are also creating a testing and screening area at the IU to help all our districts, so hopefully that'll be put into place here shortly. One of the other things that came up due to our president not being able to attend, the vice president goes to be at the PSBA Delegate Assembly, which is October 23rd. Proud to say I'm the vice president who was told to attend the PSBA Delegate Assembly. So I will be at that in October and be glad to share what I get from that. Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha.
Thank you. Lehigh Career and Technical Institute, we do not have a meeting in July. We did not have a meeting in July, but as part of our guidelines, I too will be at the district assembly representing the LCTI. Legislative, Mrs. Heckman.
There is no legislative vacancy, Mr. Fedorcha.
Okay, thank you. Lehigh Carbon County Community College.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports are in your packet from the committees that were held this past month, or this month. Solicitor's report.
Hi, good evening. Just want to give you a brief summary regarding Act 65. It is recent amendments to the Sunshine Act. It requires at least 24 hours notice of each of the agenda items that the board will deliberate on at their next regularly scheduled school board meeting. That agenda needs to be posted on the website no later than 24 hours in advance, as well as at the location of the meeting, as well as at the principal place of business of the school. That excludes any conferences, working sessions, and executive session agenda items. If the matter was not included in that 24-hour notice, you cannot take it up unless it falls in one of three categories. One is an emergency exception, which pertains to a real or potential emergency involving a clear and present danger to life and or property. Business that arises within 24 hours of the meeting, or business raised during the meeting if, one, it is de minimis in nature and doesn't involve spending money or entering into contracts. The law also talks a little bit about how the board would amend the agenda under one of those three exceptions, and it pretty much tracks what currently exists, but there is now a requirement that the amended agenda must be posted on the website at the administration building by the next business day. And then the minutes must reflect the matter added, the vote, and the reasons for the addition. So that was approved by the governor at the end of June, so it will take effect on August 29th of this year. So those rules will be governing your September board meeting.
Thank you. Any questions, board? Seeing none, thank you again.
You're welcome.
We shall move on then to our Assistant Superintendent's report, Dr. Stoker.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. We will be reporting on the ESSER grants as we continue to spend those down through September of 2024. There's a handout at everyone's place that's up at the front table this evening that discuss the allocations that we received, what's been spent to date, what's encumbered, and what remains to be spent. ESSER 1 has been completely spent down. That was $324,575 that we received as a district. There was money that was given to the non-public institution, which resides in our district. So that money of $324,575 was completely expended on things like our technology platforms, social distancing supplies, technology, and a part of our bipolar ionization systems that we purchased. ESSER 2, we received an allocation of $1,463,002. To date, we have spent $145,000. That leaves $1,318,002 remaining. Out of that, we have encumbered $416,000, which leaves, again, $902,002. And we have a list of potential items we may want to purchase for $871,000, which remaining monies that are undetermined for that grant are at $31,002. Some of the things that we've spent ESSER number 2 on are plexiglass, some of our PSSA supplies because we had to test students differently this year, the prom that we held, cafeteria supplies for social distancing while students were eating, water that we purchased for sports, things of that nature. Some of the purchases that we have encumbered include USA Test Prep, which is an online tool that we use for assessments at the secondary level. We are initiating a social emotional screening tool called the PASS. That's another encumbered expense. And then we had a platform that we used, Lightspeed, which is a classroom management tool for online environments, and that cost went up a little bit, so that's another encumbered expense that we currently have. Some of the things that we have on that list as potential items that we may spend money on include Chromebooks and charging stations, Adobe across the district, additional hotspots, tents, our Blade server, and some platforms like Cami and Comply, which help us to do things in an online environment, and Zones of Regulation, which is for our social emotional learning. Our last grant, the ESSER 3 grant, which we have those monies through September of 2024. The allocation for that is $2,948,680. Of that, to date, we have spent $211,000. That breaks down into two different categories. We've spent $12,000 of that on supplies and $199,000 on learning loss. That's important because we do have to spend $600,000 of that on learning loss, or close to that. So that brings our subtotal to nearly $2.7 million. We have $88,000 encumbered. That remains at $2.6 million. And then we have a spending list of potential items for about $2.1 million, bringing what we have remaining total that is undetermined at about $500,000. Currently, we have spent ESSER 3 on our summer programs that we offered this past summer. Our salaries for any of the employees that participated in that summer program for our students, supplies, programs and platforms that we used, and then we have some encumbered expenses like headsets, playground equipment that we're looking to install at Peters Elementary, and then some of the items that we're looking to potentially spend on include some of our new positions, the Director of Educational Technologies, Curriculum and Instruction, 5 additional paras, 2 of which are at Peters, 2 of which are at Slatington, and 1 at the middle school to help with interventions through our MTSS system. Our CCS, which is COVID compensatory services that we're offering to special education students after the pandemic, and some transportation for summer learning that may come as we continue to offer the summer programs for 3 additional summers beyond this summer. So that's some of the spending that we have to date and where we're looking to go for our ESSER grants. Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha.
Any board have questions?
Dr.
Dr.
Stoker.
Stoker, go ahead.
ESSER 2, when does that one complete?
September of 2023.
And then ESSER 3 is September 2024?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board? Thank you very much. We'll move on then to our business manager's report. Mrs. Maltoris or Mrs. Franz?
We don't have anything to report.
All right. Then we shall move on to our superintendent's report. Doctor, listen to me. I'm already promoting you. Mr. Link.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. This evening, I'm actually going to turn my time over to Mrs. Sue Bile, who was one of our summer learning program coordinators, along with Dr. Sarah Heinzelman, who could not join us this evening. Mrs. Bile is going to share out a summative report on our summer learning academies.
I hope you can all hear me. Yes. Okay. I do have some notes because I don't want to forget anything. I just want to start. I became interested in being involved in this program when Mr. Pine was talking about that it would have an SEL component to it, and that is where my heart is right now. So I applied to be one of the coordinators. I'm not going to lie, it was quite a daunting task to put together a 6-week program for K through 8 in less than a month. But I am super proud of what we did in that time. The kids were all engaged in learning. Most of the middle schoolers were there for credit recovery, but the younger kids were there, some of them because they had been virtual and their parents wanted to transition them back to in-person learning. Some, their parents felt they may have lost some learning over the time, and some were just there because they wanted to learn. We had kids that really did well virtually, but their parents wanted them to continue learning. So a little bit about the curriculum. We had really wanted to use as little tech as possible, but there really wasn't a whole lot available. So we did use more tech than we had originally planned. We used Imagine Learning for both ELA and math. We used Zern for math, and it's something that was hands-on and that went over really well was something called Mango Math, that they were kits that addressed all the standards, and they were hands-on games that could be individualized based on the needs of the students. And we had the kits K through our middle school level, and the teachers could pull kits based on the data, what their kids actually needed. MANGO stands for measurement, algebraic equations, numeration, geometry, and operation. So that, I think, was one of the favorite things in the curriculum that we used. We used Scholastic Learning. We were hoping to get books in hand, but the Scholastic wasn't ready with that, so we used their digital program. But we did access Reading A to Z, so we could print out books for the kids. And the younger kids actually had book bags, whereas they read their books, they put them in their bags, and then they were able to take those all home with them at the end. We had a great staff. They were very flexible. We had some teachers that weren't planning to teach elementary students and jumped on board when we needed them and did a great job. We were lucky to have Tony Tullio, who was certified elementary and secondary, so he was able to bridge a staffing need that we had for middle school, so that was awesome. Just quickly about our daily schedule, both the middle school and the elementary kids got breakfast every day on a different schedule, of course, and they also got lunch, and it was free to all the kids that participated. K through 6 had 3 hours of academics, followed by lunch, and then we had 1 hour of specials in the afternoon. And some of those specials included phys ed. I did social emotional lessons with the kids, mindfulness, digital citizenship, and Dr. Heitzelman did coding with the older kids, and they just loved that. Every Friday we had an award assembly where we recognized kids for attendance, for meeting the bulldog, the 4 expectations that we have, and also for academic effort. 7 through 8 received instruction in ELA, math, social studies, and phys ed, and they were doing that to get mostly for credit recovery. We did have a couple kids that didn't fail anything, and they just wanted to continue to learn over the summer. Some data, I don't know if you all have a copy of the program, has some really great pictures. I'm not going to take credit for this. Dr. Heinzelman put this together, but just some summary of some of the data. 70% of the students in K through 4 made progress with Imagine Learning, so we use that as a benchmarking tool for that. 48% of students 5 through 8 made progress in Imagine Learning. Some of those kids started above grade level, so it was harder for them to make progress. 82% of the kindergarten students made gains with letter naming fluency. 62% of the students in 1st and 2nd grade made gains in oral reading fluency. Some of them were already proficient. So, and then 44% of the students in grades 5 through 8 made gains as measured by the STAR reading assessment. So they took it in May, and then they took it again at the end of the program. And then we ended our program with a carnival. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, Kingston Law Firm, the National Bank, and the Giant. And I'll have to be truthful. When Sarah first told me she wanted to do a carnival, I said, well, maybe next year. And she let it go for about 2 minutes, and she came back to it. And I really want to do it. And I was a doubting Thomas, but it turned out great, and the kids loved it. They earned tickets throughout the program for attendance. We had 33 kids that they didn't miss a day. And then they also got it for following our Bulldog rules, and then also for any extra effort or doing something kind or anything like that. So on the last day, for those of you who got to stop by, it was a great carnival. The gym had 2 huge inflatables, we had games, we had Ritas, we had popcorn machine, and the kids really loved it. And some of them were, really sad that it was over. So, 6 weeks, I was surprised. That's a long time for kids to give up. But I'm really proud of what we did. So, does anyone have any questions about the data or the program?
I'd like to say thank you. It was a heck of a time to put that together, but it sounds like it was very well received by the kids and by the people who also participated.
I've gotten some really nice emails from parents, so that was
Good feedback we had. Yes.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Vile, and again, congratulations on the first summer of that program, and I look forward to the next 3 summers and hopefully beyond. I would again like to echo Mrs. Vile's appreciation to our donors, and I would like to note again that King Spry, donated $500. Giant Food Stores over in Walnutport donated $100. And the Neff's National Bank, scratch that. Giant Food Stores donated $5,906, a portion of which went towards the carnival, and Neff's National Bank donated $100. Again, so thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you, Attorney Roddick, and to your firm. We appreciate the support for our students and staff in such a new and innovative program. And that concludes my report for this evening, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Link? Okay. We did hold an executive session this evening for personnel items, and as you will be hearing, we had a number of personnel items to deal with tonight. With saying that, I will then open up for a motion to approve the personnel items A through U. A through U. Do I have a motion to do so?
Here.
Do I have a second?
Here.
Sorry,
Page 4, number 7.
I'm sorry.
Page 4, number 7, Lloyd, Tweed, consideration.
Page number what?
Page
4.
4. Item number 7.
Would be 4C7.
Okay, I have an editorial change here. Page 4, if you look at your agenda, number 7, we are going to remove number 7, Lloyd Antwi. So with that change, do I still have a motion with, and a second?
Yes.
Second? Yes. Okay, any other questions or comments or changes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to policy.
If I can just take a moment.
Go ahead,
to
please.
Congratulate all of our new employees, some of which are with us this evening, and welcome to the Northern Lehigh team. I look forward to working with you and great things to come.
And I will compliment you and your staff, your administrative staff, that we're in our August meeting, and we have a full staff of professionals coming in. And you've done a great job this summer to put that all together.
Thank you, sir. Definitely a team effort.
And welcome. Okay, then I will move on to policy items, and I will accept a motion to approve the policy items A through D.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the policies? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Conferences. Do we have any conferences? Okay. Moving then on to curriculum instruction. I will need a motion to approve the curriculum and instruction items A through E.
Here.
A through E.
Here.
Do I have a second? Any questions on those?
Yeah, I do. Can,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Link, could you give us a little overview of Jonathan Mooney and what he's going to be doing on your opening day?
Sure. Jonathan Mooney is going to be actually joining us virtually this year. We were not able to obtain him in person. And he's going to be sharing, I guess, what I would code as, or code as kind of inspirational, an inspirational talk about some of the events he went through in his life. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking to the side of your head. Some of the events that he went through in his life and how it connects to students showing growth, students overcoming obstacles in their lives. Not just students, really adults, students and our adults that we work with.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any old business?
No, sir.
New business. I will accept a motion to approve the new business items A and B. A and B.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the new business items? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Financial, I will accept a motion to approve the financial items A through J. A through J. Do I have a motion to approve the financial items?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Here.
Any questions on the financial items? Hearing none, All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any legal? Any correspondence?
No.
You have a number of items of the minutes of the, in your packet for information and recognition of guests. There is no one who would like to speak to the board this evening. I do welcome you and thank you for joining us this evening. With that, we're at that point. I can't believe we're getting finished at 7:30. This is kind of strange. I'll get home to have a decent dinner maybe. Surprise my wife, she won't believe it. Anyway, do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Here.
Anyone want to disagree with that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Our next meeting is September 8th, is it?
Let's see the clock.
I believe it,
Yep, 7:32.
September 13th.
13th. And our committee meetings are a bit off because of the Labor Day weekend. Thank you very much for attending and have a safe evening tonight. Stay well, everyone.